Hello there, it's time for some interactivity here on JoyNews. This show is live from our studios in Kukumlemle, digital address GA0992539. It's also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Your comments are welcome via Facebook and Twitter. We are JoyNews on TV. Now let's start with a series here at JoyNews titled Dear Nardo, and we are giving you an opportunity to speak directly to President Akufo-Addo. It's also an opportunity for the President and his ministers to address the concerns that you raised. Dear Nardo will deal with various issues reflecting the views of society, tracking the President's promises before he was elected. Essentially, the ordinary Ghanaian will give his or her own assessment of assurances received from government almost 3 years in office. So on social media, we asked you if you had the chance to ask President Akufo-Addo one question, what would it be? Here's what some of you have been sharing with us. Francis Kennedy Oklu, well, he doesn't even ask this question. He thinks it will be an exercise in futility. And Hanif, citizen Bobby Umar says, President Akufo-Addo, why are you renaming all state-owned institutions? All state-owned institutions? Okay, that's your question. After your family, party, and clan members. And Isaac Mahmoud Lukam says, Your Excellency, do you still have concrete and brotherly relationship with Baumia? As we witnessed during the 2012 elections petition, will you endorse Baumia's presidential candidature? As a veteran politician, would you kindly disclose your monthly salary? Oh, monthly salary. This is common knowledge. I don't think. Just Google it. You'll find it. Alexander Kennedy says, I'll tell him that he should still continue to create jobs for the youth to do and pay us, I'm sure you mean US, afforestation employees. And Linda Obing says, how do you manage to stay so young, cool and collected in spite of the monumental pressure and uncountable challenges? And that's Linda's question to the President. And a photo of him has been trending, and I just want to believe probably that informed her question. Freedom Atipo says, well, the factories have been unemployed at a national service till now. Where are the promised jobs? And Sugri Abdul Rafiq says, when is he posting the 2017 batch of trained nurses and midwives? Okay, you want the President to answer that? Well, that's your question to him. Yusuf Hussaini says, I'd ask him why he cannot reshuffle his ministers and sack the lazy ones who are only adding up to the numbers. And two, I would rehash the questioning of the late Kaba. If the presidency, I beg your pardon, has tamed him to relax on claiming back our stolen money from the past NDC administration. Ketri Adjoa Jimfoa says, I will ask him the sustainability plan for free SHS if his government loses power. Interesting question. Where are the jobs he promised the youth? Why is he making too many promises with little fulfillment? The way forward with planting for food and jobs. Any yield? What's the relevance of building the Christian auditorium? I'm sure you mean the National Cathedral, and its contribution to fostering economic development in this economic crisis. Charles Apana says, I'll ask him, why can't he do proper supervision after awarding contracts to people for national projects? Okay, and they do shoddy work? Oh, all right, interesting. The President should do the proper supervision himself. Jacob Akazusa says, I'll ask him if he's satisfied with the performance of his appointees, especially his DCEs. And Che Bafo says, why is it that politicians take such huge salaries and other workers take insignificant figures? If you just joined us, this is JoyNews Interactive, and we are phoning on the back of our series we just started, Dear Nardo, to ask you what questions you'd like to ask the President. And Aigbe Tupac says, what is the importance of renaming universities when there are important issues to attend to? And Michael Takasi says, what is the magic behind your monumental and unprecedented achievement? And Orlando Pirates, Niitaki, Says, I ask why he clears everyone wrongdoer in his government. Are they that pious? He's asking. So let's stay with the president. Over the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of interaction back and forth on the president's flagship program, the Free Senior High School program. Now, Joyce Mokhtari, spokesperson for former President Mahama, she thinks the president will be deceiving himself if he thinks that just implementing the Free Senior High School program will keep him in power for another 4 years or more, or another 4 years. I beg your pardon. President Akufo-Addo says the best answer to his critics will be the results of the first batch of Free Senior High School students. So we decided to bring that issue and ask you, do you think Free SHS is enough to deliver an electoral victory for the NPP in the 2020 elections? And a lot of you have been sharing your thoughts with us. Zedekis says, never. The ripple effect of the Free Senior High School program was not witnessed as expected. It was expected that since government was paying for tuition, people would have had those monies on them to expand businesses and others, so the standard of living would go high. But it's the contrary, he says. Marginal propensity to save is still low, suggesting there are no excesses. He says Free Senior High School has not brought any difference. Abrokwa says, funny, you think I'll go to the box to vote for MPP because of Free SHS if they don't stop the corruption and politicizing our education, intimidating teachers, denying training posting, attacking journalists. If you don't tackle these issues, it won't. And there's a lot more to that. You can get onto our Facebook page. A lot of comments there. Abraham says, no Free Senior High School can guarantee victory for the NPP. The president should fire non-performing appointees to make the public happy. Camille says, big yes, because it was a major campaign issue in the run-up to the 2016 election. So, well, he thinks that Free Senior High School is enough to give the NPP victory in the 2020 elections. Dawana says, yes, this is lead campaign message in the build-up to the 2016 elections, and it has been fulfilled. Usumuru Bafwewa says, have you people forgotten about the former President Kufuor's era? Free compulsory universal basic education was introduced, health insurance, other social intervention, but he lost to President Mills in 2008. Okay, well, because the different governments, different personalities. Well, so you people should know that the Free Senior High School program. He goes on and on. Fred Nyameba says a big no. It's a very good social intervention, but one can't only dwell on that as being successful. A lot needs to be done, especially in the economic aspect. And Hassan says, yes, education gives freedom. Your boy Emmanuel says, no, unless they add the free wife per each guy. Okay, but did they promise that, your boy? Osei Jesse Amo says, it's more than enough. It has taken huge burden of the poor. Man, I like Gizo says, no, because we're just moving the dropout rate from junior level, senior level after free SHS. What is next for the thousands who are universities can't accommodate? Graduates are even finding it difficult to secure jobs, he says. And Don Kojo says, I pay for the so-called free senior high school through tax. So what's new? Seidu Suleiman says, it's a big no for me. The teachers they claim they have employed, he's asking if those teachers have been paid. Well, we just heard earlier here on the JoyNews channel the Director General of the Ghana Education Service addressing the media, and I'm sure he will touch on that as well. Idriso Alfred says the Free Senior High School program is mass production of illiterates. That's what he thinks. Well, for people who think like that, the president is actually asking the first batch of Free Senior High School students to perform well and put critics to shame. Some also, she says, this won't wash. Our brains are functioning well and not to fall for free thing. Prof. Kojo says no, because they have access and equity but lack quality. William Yosin says no, if the economy is good and people have work to do, that will be better. Hanif, Citizen Bobby says no, Free Senior High School is not the solution to all our problems, as Akufo-Addo and his people want us to believe. So apart from your comment, on the Joy Super Morning Show, there was a poll on this particular free senior high school issue, and we asked, will free SHS be enough to deliver electoral victory for the NPP? And 35% who responded said yes, and 50% said no. For 15%, it was maybe. Now let's move on to Tech Thursday. Some students of the Department of Computer Engineering at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have developed a new electronic toll collection system with a mobile app to ease vehicular traffic and address barrier-lit failures at toll booths. Here is Live FM's Kwesi Debra with the story.
A survey by the Ministry of Roads and Transport shows the country loses about 40 to 80% revenue from toll booths. To improve revenue generation, efforts were initiated to automate all 35 electronic toll booths nationwide, out of which only 4 have been completed. Tabitha Amadaka.
The lack of accountability and then favoritism, and then all of those lead to debt for the government. It was published in 2017 by the NHI that the government had only received 1.2 billion Ghana cedi as revenue, but then they had a debt of 17 billion.
And then we would have
she and her colleague, Christabel Akwe, set out to look for ways to maximize the efficiency of electronic toll booth systems. Emphasis were on reducing traffic congestion, fuel consumption, and saving travel time.
That accountability exists in the collection of tolls.
So we'd assume
the system consists of a central database and web server that stores and retrieves information about registered vehicles. The tag can be placed on the windshield embedded within the DVLA roadworthy sticker, vehicle registration or license plate. As the vehicle reaches the barrier, a reader scans and deducts toll from the prepaid account.
The electronic toll collection works with a tag which will be attached to every vehicle that uses the toll gate, and the tag would contain some information that concerns a particular user's account. So the account is just like the current prepaid account that we have, where you have your card and then you go and buy credits to enable you use electricity. But in this case, what you are buying is credits that anytime you pass by the toll gate, yeah, it automatically deducts the charge for your car. So for our system, we are just using a reader that would be at the toll gate, so that anytime you pass through the toll gate, you wouldn't even have to stop, and you would just have to pass, and then the deductions will be made to your account.
Vehicle owners can therefore see transaction, manage account information on their mobile phones. The system records negatives for defaulters who are required to pay all debts before renewal of roadworthy certificates. The proposed system also permits quick tracking of vehicles, as the location information of vehicles are stored during toll deduction. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
What's your take on this? We've been asking you, and many of you have been sharing your thoughts via our Facebook page, and I'm glad to share those thoughts with the rest of the world. Quickly, and Hick Isaac says, that's good, but if it will be accepted and put to use, since we don't believe in ourselves as Ghanaians. And Nikas says, kudos. Ido Safu says, we actually need to go cashless as a nation. And Jonathan Latte says, fantastic, and kudos. And Abraham Adongo says, University of Science and Technology, well done, but we need more. Aya Kojo Edu Ado Kisi Edu says, excellent, this is what we expect from you guys, congratulations. And Anna says, it's very nice, innovative idea, kudos to them. Scratch up. Quite a post says, this president supported the tech ladies who invented sanitary pads using banana and plantain saka with huge seed money to start mass production about 2 weeks ago. Over the years, these things were not seen from our students of science technology. Now, as a reality, the president of the day will support anyone. Is it that they were not seen, or there wasn't a lot of focus? Well, that's why we have Tech Thursday here on JoyNews. Make it with us every Thursday. We bring you innovation from different parts of the country. And Ishia says, this is what we have always expected. Asante Isaac says, how many people will be honest to use the app or any checks to monitor that drivers comply with the use of this app? Revenue will fall short or against what is expected. And Nancy Okan says, great work. Stephen says, congratulations. Tijani, nice one. Kasim says, a good idea, but our leaders, he thinks, will not allow it to be used at the toll booths. Raja says, that is great. The government was supposed to support Dr. Kantanka, and at the end of the day, he'll also employ graduates of Polytechnic and Science and Tech, and the economy will be moving forward. Kofi Silfi says, these are issues we should project, not agenda set by politicians every passing day. Ghana deserves better. And Opon Sante Ernest says, please develop something beneficial to civilians, not only the government. Government will be using the money for their own interests. And Paul Joelman says, authorities shouldn't wait for any time. They should call them immediately and implement this good work. If you just joined us, we are discussing an app developed by some student of KNUST to help you pay your toll without stress and to ease vehicular traffic. Well, we'll take a short breather here. When we come back, we'll be talking sports and all that happened yesterday. Do stay. Thanks for staying here on JoyNews Interactive. Let's do some sports now. And Chelsea's new manager, Frank Lampard, suffered his second defeat in a row after losing to Liverpool in the UEFA Super Cup match. Were you surprised that Chelsea lost? What do you make of calls to allow him, stay and be given time to build a strong team? Well, you've been sharing your thoughts with us here on our Facebook page. And Sir Obama in Pokwasi says, but how were you expecting Frank Lampard to beat vintage Klopp? He's asking. And Justice says, you cannot dispute the ability of Frank Lampard. That was amazing football. Who thought Chelsea could take Liverpool to extra time? Just imagine the improvement of the team in just 3 days after that defeat to United. I remember it took Klopp more than 3 years to win a trophy. Let's be frank to Frank. I get your play on words. And Jude Noble says, he lost gallantly. Chelsea outperformed, and that was against our expectations with great tempo, well-circulated telepathy, energy levels of the guys. It's enough to cause a stir, and the future is bright, he says. Nanaya Reynolds says, great performance by Frank and the team. We are proud of them. Davis Bobison says, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but one can attest this has been one of the best games showcased by the club. Not Sarri and not even almighty Mourinho. Lampard is doing the needful to rebrand the image of the club. Liverpool is almost there. And Frank says, Joy Sports Desk should leave Chelsea. And Frank says, drop the agenda, we'll lose together. There's no agenda, guys. We're just asking a simple question. And Frank Nyako says, it's early days yet. Let's allow Frank to build the team. We could see massive improvement between the Man United game and the Liverpool game. Raja says Lampard did his best. Even this is his first time of handling a tough match. I think he'll correct his mistakes. Football is played. Hey, God is in this one too, but it's God who determines the team that will win for the day. Interesting. And Joseph says UEFA made a big mistake by allowing all ladies to officiate the game. With due respect to women, really, I really doubt that the officiating was poorly handled. I think it was great. I think it was good. And I'm not saying this because I'm a woman, but this lady officiated the Women's World Cup, and she did great. So, sorry, I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with you on it, but hey, it's your comment and we appreciate it. Enoch says they even play better than Joy Sports. We don't play football, Jerry. And Akagura says, I was rather surprised they were able to reach extra time. Sakara says, poor officiating. Okay, so he agrees with the earlier person, led to Chelsea's loss. Liverpool's goalkeeper had both legs off the line to save Abraham's penalty. Quite a controversial one, and I'm sure the debate will go on. Kofi Eduamoa says, not at all. He fought a good fight. Hard luck was at play. And Oxwell George says, why should I be surprised when Black Stars team, which is, well, state-owned, he says, and sponsored by my country, lost gargantually. And Vega says, I think Lampard should have continued with Derby County a little before moving to Chelsea, because from last season, there seems to be pressure on the coach of Chelsea, and that's why Sarri left. So the debate continues. I don't know what you think. Was Liverpool's keeper off his line technically, or did he move when Abraham moved? Well, the debate will continue. But before we go, here's our picture of the day. Well, so remember on Monday we brought you one of some Chinese men standing by a lotto booth, or what you call it, a kiosk here. And today it's different. Some ladies there, and we'll share your comments on that briefly before we leave. Kweku Steven says, I'm not an expert, but after analyzing this photo from beginning to the end, I cannot say anything because I said in the beginning, I'm not an expert. Daniel is just laughing at that. Daniel laughs again, this time more hysterically. And Nate Andrew says, I can tell you the rate at which women are taking lotto these days is very serious. That's what Nate Andrew says. But a simple question here, is lotto restricted for men? I'm just wondering. Anyway, Bansi says, yesterday was Chinese, today young ladies, tomorrow it will be Opana himself. I'd love to know who Opana is. And Prince Selassie says, they were asking for a direction. Just say in my mind, Princess, look, just stop this. They didn't go there to stake anything. They just went to ask for direction. And someone is laughing, says the hardship is rife when a government decides to share appointment to only family and friends. Nothing we get. And Eben says the stage of Ghana. Jonathan Parry says, I know this location. Oh, really? He says it's on the Kolebu Road, just opposite the police station. He's laughing at his own comment. Mustafa says, girls too. And Arthur Forson says, come to Dowenya and see. Na Hassan says, things are hard. Don Kojo says, the Nardo government for you. Ernest Apeti says, they're only visiting their boyfriends who are